Aloha all. So I wanted to hop on and just share some of the epiphanies that are coming through. And always when I drive over to the other side of the island, I'm on the big island of Hawaii. When I drive from the Hilo side over to the Kona side, you're driving in between two volcanoes, Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea. And these are incredibly sacred mountains, volcanic mountains, to the Hawaiian people, to the world, really. And every time I take that drive, whether I'm by myself or with somebody, there's always these incredible messages that come through from the land, from the mountains, from the waters that we're surrounded by. Even visually, it's like they shapeshift to bestow their messages and their voice within us, and it's extraordinary to be able to receive. And so oftentimes it doesn't even fully land right when it's happening. You're just kind of taking it all in, and then it continues to kind of like unwind and marinate. And today, I feel like there's just even more pieces of this kind of puzzle, this message, this transmission that are being put together. And we'll see if it even continues from here. But the the beauty of excuse me, the epiphany really speaks to now and what's going on right now. And this kind of deep ancient fear that is in everyone, that has been in humanity. And it's like this fear of rejection from the group, from being exiled from society, from being on the outside. And because of this deep and ancient fear, we really contort ourselves to fit into the concepts and the ideas of the current society. And when we are, what's underneath that, right, is really a shadow of fear and victimization and what the Gene Keys would call deafness, right? I'm really resonating right now with this gene key of deafness, the 43rd gene key. And it's like it talks about the ability to not really hear ourselves. What is going on? How is our spirit communicating to us? And it feels like at this time, for me, everything is communicating to me. Everything is showing me an entirely new way. It's giving me new ears to hear, new eyes to see, right? It's the gift of insight. It's like I'm being shown into all these old constructs and fear and victimization kind of shadows that we have held onto for eons. And right now we see this playing out in the division that's happening in so many different ways. I don't need to name all the ways, but it's really like pitting brother against brother, sister against sister, brother and sister against each other. Like everybody is being pit against each other. And it's like, I'm taking this side, I'm taking this side. And so that we go into battle, right? We can see this from the micro to the macrocosm happening now. And as I allow myself to listen, and I was on this trip with a dear soul sister of mine who was giving me the most beautiful transmission that I was literally praying about, and then she physically experienced it and energetically then catalyzed it into me. So this is all connected, right? The deafness is often our ability not to hear of new and innovative ideas and ways of thinking, because they challenge our worldview and our perspective. And in order to actually hear, listen, and receive these new ways, these new insights, we would have to fundamentally change our view. And What's happening is most people have dug their heels into the sand and they've taken their side and they will defend it to the end. And therefore, they've closed themselves off. They have become deaf to be able to open to a new and higher perspective, because then they would have to shift their consciousness and their awareness to be able to integrate that new perspective. So listen to that again if you need to. We are not able to hear one another, especially the things that are coming through that are showing us a higher perspective, because one, we would have to shift everything that we defend and how we have perceived the world up until now and acknowledge the manipulation. And therefore acknowledge that we have been controlled and that we have allowed it, that we have to take responsibility for it. So instead of that, what we do is we villainize the other. We cause them to be the outcast, but by whatever means necessary. Belittling, arguing, battling, but nobody is actually listening, right? We can't hear one another. Not only can we not hear the truth within ourselves, but we can't hear one another. We are in a time when we don't even listen to ideas that could help us shift our current trajectory because we are not willing to let them in. We are deafened. We are deafened to our inner voice of spirit, and we are deafened to another's voice who may be carrying that. And therefore, we've lost our ability to be discerning, right? Because you probably don't want to listen to every voice out there. But when we are open, when we can hear our inner voice, when we are attuned to that inner listening, we can be discerning about, ooh, actually, this is something that I need to take in and listen to. Just like with my sister in the car yesterday, as she's sharing this whole new experience that came through her, I'm opening up to fully receive not just what she's saying, but to feel the energy behind what she's delivering and to allow it to almost like deconstruct any wall of resistance that was a previous belief system to kind of crumble so that I could open up and receive something entirely brand new that I have never even thought of before, that is completely innovating my perspective of this circumstance. And when we can do that, that's when we open up to miracles. That's when we open up to epiphanies. And let me tell you that, as we move through this 41st gene key, as you begin to come into service, as you begin to receive these insights, you are immediately faced with the idea of being exiled from the group. You are immediately brought into face to face with that which could cause you to be rejected. Because what is coming through you is so fresh and so new and so innovative, it's insightful, that most people out there, being in their shadow and fear and victimization and their deafness, will not be able to hear. And when somebody hears something that challenges their perspective and their worldview, they will tend to crucify and exile the person who is the messenger. How long have we seen this throughout history? Who does it remind you of? So, those people who are receiving these incredible transmissions now, we have to face off with our fear of rejection, of being exiled, and speak anyway. And I'm sharing this because if you're hearing this, you're one of the people who probably is having some sort of epiphany, some sort of very expanded, higher perspective of how things are shifting and how we are ushering in an entirely new way to view human existence and all consciousness that is much more interconnected and in service to all. And we're also the ones that are not here to battle to get anybody else to understand that. It's for the ones who have the ears to hear and the eyes to see. And I'm sharing this because I think there's a lot of people out there who carry the genius and the insight and are receiving the transmissions and are still holding on to and facing off with the fear of what others will think of them, their friends, their family, their coworkers, if they were to speak what is coming through them. I'm going to give you an example right now. And I shared this once, probably about a year ago, on a social media. And I did get crucified for it because the ones that were in the battle that had already taken a side were willing to defend that side to the end. And that means having to annihilate the one who's coming in with entirely different perspective because they have already bought in to taking that side and they're going to fight for it. So if you're in that space of having picked a side in any of the things going on in the world, in the macrocosm of the global world or in the microcosm of your own inner circle, your own battles within yourself, this is something to begin to make peace inside yourself with. Maybe open up and allow yourself to receive something new, both from allowing it to come in through you intuitively as an epiphany, or that insight, or maybe listen without judgment to something somebody has to say that's new and hold it without judgment. Just listen and contemplate it without trying to defend. What could that look like? So as an example, when Roe versus Wade got overturned, and this is still one of the big battles going on, right? Pro-life and pro-choice. And man, that is a line drawn that is incredibly emotionally volatile. And I sat with it because in many of my younger years, I defended pro-choice. I was defending pro-choice. See, it even is mixed up within me right now because I'm pro-choice life. I'm pro-choice life. I am both. How can you choose between choice and life? All right? Just think about how insane that is. And so there is a sense that has been very manipulated that women's rights should have the choice to do whatever they want with their body. And of course, the other side is like, there is something that is actually life that is beginning that you shouldn't be allowed to take a life, right? So the narratives are very divisive, obviously. And as I was meditating, I saw it from a couple different perspectives, but the main perspective that wanted to be shared was that humans have fundamentally forgotten that they are portals, women especially, portals, stargates of life to be able to bring that which is not form, to be able to bring divine spirit through the body and manifest it into form is a miracle of miracles. It's incredible. Men and women coming together to create that which is spiritualization into materialization through their body creating life is an insane miracle. If you even look at what has to happen, that how everything has to come together so perfectly to bring that which is consciousness into form, it's extraordinary. So first of all, the fundamental forgetting of what an absolute miracle conception is. Secondly, to revere the ability that we have as creators to create life. We have taken the sanctity and the beauty out of what it is to remember that we can create life. It has, our creative life force energy has literally been siphoned down to seconds of pleasure that we call an orgasm. So we've taken all of the magic and the miracle out of the creative life force. When man and woman come together to exchange masculine and feminine fluids, the potential for all of creation exists. Take in the alchemy of what that actually means. And we have forgotten the ability as spirits that we are connected to all of life, and that we used to know, we are in the shadow also of forgetting, that we call in, we create a sacred space and we call in the spirit. If there is a spirit moving through our bodies into our womb at the exact moment of this insemination, which really can only take place at a very small time during the cycle, a woman's menstrual cycle, that there is an inherent, beautiful, sacred contract there. And we get to determine when that is. We have forgotten our ability to speak as spirit. We've forgotten that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And as such, we are creators, that we choose the moment that we wish to create, and we call forth a being when we're ready, and we ask a being. We do not call forth a being. We are not calling forth a being in this union, because this is not the divine moment for it. We have forgotten how to invoke our powers of creation, because if we had remembered, this issue, which is such a big issue, is a non-issue, because you have choice, you have power when you create life, and you have forgotten that it is actually in your hands. And when I spoke about that, there was a huge backlash, because people, specific people, would rather become the victim of something, not choosing to claim their power, but rather choosing to defend their ability to make their unconscious choices. You want choice, but you actually don't want to take responsibility for your choice. You want life. Well, you are the creator of life. Your higher self is the creator of your choices. So if you go about your life not choosing to claim that you are actually the creator of your choices and your circumstances and take responsibility for it, but rather abdicate that responsibility, saying, no, when I don't take responsibility for my choices, then I want this option. You're not taking responsibility for your power. You're disempowering yourself. You're still giving away your ability to make your choices when it comes to life and when it comes through you. And therefore, you also do not have the ability to create because you are not claiming it. You're not remembering that part of yourself. This is just one example, right? So there's many examples of many things that are really our DNA opening up to our higher self as conscious creators in co-creation with Source, with the divine, with God, so that we are being reminded of how to unlock those doors and become that Source consciousness as a conscious creator. And each and every person who is allowing themselves to step into their genius, because believe me, everybody who is on planet Earth right now, if they open up, they have a unique code where they will receive things in a unique way, where they actually have a responsibility to share that. And if we are conscious, we have a responsibility to receive it and see if it like clicks in and be like, whoa, you just catalyzed a bigger remembering within me. We are walking each other home. But if you close the door when somebody knocks on it to share with you a innovative idea because you are so grasped on to your old way of thinking that you are deaf to anything that challenges your current belief system, then you will not evolve. And this is an evolution that we're going through right now. And it's so unbelievably beautiful. This video is really for the ones who are getting these really challenging truths to speak and are feeling the fear of sharing them because they are feeling the fear that they will thought to be insane, to be crazy, to be exiled, and to be rejected. And I'm here to tell you that there's many of us right now, and that we are the antidote to the division that's happening on the earth. We are the antidote to those who want to divide us. And in our power, in our divine power, all we have to do is speak the way Spirit is speaking through us, emanate through our aura, and embody the truth that we are being shown and trusted. Really deeply trust and have faith in these, which sometimes seems like wild realizations. And yet they resonate so deeply within us and they open us up in such extraordinary ways. And there's such revelations that you know it's from the divine because you couldn't have possibly thought that up on your own. It's like, this is a revelation. It's being revealed to me, something I didn't know, and I can feel truth in my body when it comes through. And so how can I not share it? And I've resonated many times with the Christed path and Christ consciousness. You know, we love to make him a man, a being, a human who did walk upon this earth at one time to show us the consciousness with which lives within us all, and to awaken to that and to merge with that and to know it is within us. And so we also resonate with the crucifixion, with the shedding are the shining of our truth and our revelations and our love and our capabilities, and watching how those who are not ready to receive it may crucify, and can you be okay with that too and still move forward in speaking your truth? So that is my prayer for you. And this whole channel, this whole speaking is to come together with the beings on the planet that I already feel are holding this massive beacon of light and who maybe haven't allowed themselves to be seen yet. I'm literally just in this first year of allowing myself to be seen in this way and allowing myself to speak the things that previously have felt are unspeakable, especially as it pertains to things like pedophilia, right, and this child sex trafficking. This is a big one for me that I'm going to be speaking about because it needs to be heard, because for so long people have buried their head in the sand, not wanting to see and calling people conspiracy theorists. Well, like, open up now. Open up. Like, do a little bit of your own digging to see what's actually going on. And how do we move this energy from the planet in a way that helps everybody heal through it? Because one of the things that has been so distorted is our sexuality in so many different ways. And our sexuality is our capability of being creators. So until we reclaim our sexuality and how sacred it is and how powerful it is, we will never fully step into our capacity to be conscious creators of reality, of life. And so this is what we're moving towards. So this feel into the shadow, right? Going back to the gene key 43 of deafness. Where am I not hearing my inner voice, my higher self? And where am I not allowing myself to hear another and then use my discernment to determine what it actually means to me? Because it might be a gift and a key that I might want to listen to. And opening up to the gift of insight, allowing insight to come in and allowing insight to come up, allowing yourself to see from a vaster perspective beyond the mind and its limiting belief systems. The belief systems are the box in which you live in that often won't let you see beyond it. So beliefs essentially are going to start to crumble and dissolve so that you can have a vaster view, and that you can receive the epiphanies, the revelations that are these spontaneous knowings of something that you didn't know before, but it just is so revelatory, and it's such a big expanded way of seeing life that it just resonates and vibrates inside you as such loving truth. It's like you can feel the essence of unconditional love of your higher self and how it's connected to the divine when these epiphanies come. So much more to come as I allow my voice and my channel to begin to shift and change into what wants to be said, what wants to be heard, and courageously show up for this unraveling and this birthing of new earth and new perspective. And this feeling of the expansiveness that we hold when we do this, it actually begins to dissolve the division. It actually begins to magnetize us together in a way that it pulls both sides together so that the division can be brought back into oneness, essentially, is how I'm seeing it. It's like the division comes back into the one and recognizes that there's the yin within the yang and yang within the yin, and that we can hold it all with this equanimity and this neutrality inside of us. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for listening and staying with me if you're still here. Thanks for being on the ride with me. It means the world to me, especially to be supported when it does feel really vulnerable and scary at times, to put yourself out there and say things that a lot of people are not going to be able to receive. So Thank you. I love you. I feel you. Till next time.